everyone, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk today about why so many expats actually fail in the country of Thailand. What is it about Thailand that means so many people come full of hopes and full of dreams and they don't actually make a success of it? I've always been interested in this, I would call it a phenomenon, so I wanted to talk about that in this video today. Now, I think ever since COVID happened, ever since people started, spending more time watching other people living their lives in a different country, they kind of wanted to follow on. And while people have always failed in Thailand, people have always had problems in the country of Thailand and had to leave for whatever reason, I think that's been amplified considerably by just how many people are attempting to do it today. And because I spend all my time on YouTube, YouTube is my full-time job at the moment. Very, very fortunate for that, really appreciate being able to do that, so I'm not complaining here about that. But the amount of people who are recommended to me in my recommended, I think that's how it works, well, it is how it works. But I've just arrived in a month, I'm here to stay, this is it, this is that, and then 2 months later, it didn't work out and I'm leaving. I've seen that probably 20 different times, 20 different people who have attempted to do that, thinking that because they've seen someone living in Thailand that automatically that means it's easy, which is definitely not the case at all. Living in Thailand is not for everyone. And I would argue people coming to Thailand solely for the purpose of using social media are the sort of people who probably shouldn't be coming to Thailand in the first place. Because if you're coming to do things such as that, then I think you're moving with all the wrong reasons. Don't know why there are so many flies around here, that's very annoying. Now, many people who are moving to Thailand recently, because of the likes of the DTV visa and everything that goes along with that, many people are what they would class as digital nomads or remote workers. They don't want to have a connection to any particular country. They don't want anything like a typical move to a country, live in a country. And that's why I've made a few videos recently, in the past few days, past few weeks, about why I'm quite upset with the state of Thailand for someone who moved to Thailand as a new country. Not to use it as a hub, not to use it for anything other than this is my new country, this is where I'm going to live forever. And I think people moving here now are not moving with that same attitude. They're moving as a way to kind of escape where they came from, yet not actually live in the country that they moved to. Now, I consider myself as living in Thailand. Perhaps my Thai isn't great, but other than that, I live in areas where there aren't many foreigners. You have people that you stay with who are Thai, etc. So I think that's slightly different than all these people who are moving there today. And I think it comes down to unrealistic expectations of what people have by coming to Thailand. Just this morning, just finished recording a video for Talks of Thailand. We're on the 30th today, so this video, not sure when it will go out. Just finished recording video for Talks of Thailand, and I do that on one computer. When I'm editing it, I've got another computer up where I watch videos. I like to keep a focus on what's going on in the Thailand YouTube scene. And I was recommended this guy talking about mistakes that you should avoid by coming to Thailand. And he opens up, he's holding his camera. I've been living here for 3 weeks. And I want to tell you about all the mistakes you need to avoid. It's like, how do you know? Watching people like this, granted he didn't have many views, maybe I think he had 120 views on that video. But if you're taking advice from people who don't really know what they're talking about, then that ultimately is going to lead many people to disaster. Now, some people might say that I don't know what I'm talking about, which is fair enough, that's fine. I have no issues with that. But I tend to feel like I know many of the ins and outs about Thailand that many people don't, because I've spent a long time here. And many of these things that these people are talking about, which other people are watching and basing their decisions on moving to Thailand on, is complete nonsense. It's just garbage. And they're free to make that video. But the problem is there's no like caveat that goes along behind it, which to say, this guy hasn't been living there for long, he's giving this advice, perhaps don't take it to heart. But many people are taking it to heart. Many people are following the advice of people making videos about condo prices and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'll put my hand up, I used to make condo videos, but that was a long time ago. I wouldn't do that now because, it's kind of past its sell-by date. But you see the prices that people are talking about for condos, and it makes absolutely no sense why people think these prices are realistic. I saw one video the other day. I didn't watch the whole of it, but gathered what it was about. And really annoying flies. Talking about how they found this house in Chiang Mai. It's amazing, it's only $35,000 a month. It's only $1,000. And you look at the house, you look at the area, and are you aware that that's probably double, at least double what you should actually be paying for a house like that? But people aren't aware because they're taking advice from people who don't know what they're talking about, and therefore there's a huge disconnect between people who know what they're doing and people who don't, because the people who don't know what they're doing seem to overpay for absolutely everything. There's a scourge in Thailand at the moment of people making videos, which they're free to do, yet they're not capturing the true essence of Thailand in these videos and what it means to be in Thailand. And therefore it leads so many people to failure. Now, I made a video a very long time ago on, I can't even remember which channel, it doesn't really matter, saying that most of my friends left Thailand a very long time ago. I think that was the title of it. Like 4 years ago I made the video. And what I was meaning by that was, when I moved to Thailand originally, you start to build friends with people, other expats in the area where you live, and yeah, good friends. And then one of them leaves, and then another one leaves, and another one runs out of money and goes somewhere else. And most of the people who move to Thailand end up not staying. Many of these because of failing to understand what they were getting themselves into by moving to Thailand. And I'm finding the situation is being blown out of proportion today because of social media. And one of the reasons why I've kind of done a U-turn on the types of content that I think is important to make is because there doesn't seem to be any other side of the story to living in Thailand, as opposed to all these positive-only crowds who keep selling nonsense to people who have never been to Thailand and about what they can expect by being there. So many times, if you watch YouTube, I mean, I don't watch it as much as I would do because I'm busy making videos, but if you watch these videos, people who you look at and think, before COVID, somebody like you would never have even considered moving or going to Thailand, let alone moving there. And Thailand isn't changing or moving quick enough where people like this can actually get any kind of comfort by being there, because they end up ultimately failing. It's because of social media, I think, has exemplified this problem, and that's why it's very important that we have another side of it altogether. Because if we don't talk about the negatives, if we don't talk about, you could be living in Thailand for 20 years and not get any kind of permanence in the country. You could have family and still not get permanence in the country. You could work and still not get permanence in the country. Most people aren't aware of that. Perhaps you could say more fool you for not looking into it, and while now I would agree to that, but I just look at some of the people who, fair enough, if they want to move here, that's great, but you can almost tell that guy's not going to last. And then all of a sudden he stopped posting videos. What's happened? Some people don't admit to it, but many people do. And the amount of times I've seen this, it's alarming. And I think that's, one of the main issues to social media itself is the fact that it's telling people that they can do things that they're not built to be able to do. If you wouldn't have moved to a different country without the ability to make online income, without the ability to make videos, without the ability to try to make money from social media, if you wouldn't have moved then I believe you shouldn't be moving today. Many of the guys who I think a few of you watch my channel, I see the comments, been in Thailand for a long time. You moved before you had the benefits of online work, before you had the benefits of everything. And I believe these are the sort of people who don't necessarily fail. But the people relying on the modern technology and modern things in order to be able to make the move a reality for themselves are a lot more likely to fail in Thailand because they wouldn't have done it anyway. If you would have done it anyway, I believe that's very different. And if you wouldn't, then perhaps Thailand shouldn't be somewhere that you should consider living. Would I live in Thailand regardless of being able to do YouTube? I have done for a long time. Was it a sacrifice in order to be able to stay here? On the one hand, yes, because perhaps you could have made more money somewhere else. But on the other hand, it wasn't a regret. It wasn't completely lost the word there, but it wasn't an issue because you're living a great life. You're living in the sort of place that you'd never be able to afford in your own country. Renting a decent place here. You got the house in Chiang Mai, which, yeah, how much would that cost in your own country? A fortune. So to be able to have that, yeah, you wouldn't have been able to do something there. You might have made more money, but you wouldn't have been able to get as much. So it was a sacrifice in certain aspects, but it was a worthwhile sacrifice until you get to the point in time where you come to the conclusion that I don't think I'm going to be able to get what I want, which is security, that, okay, this is where I live regardless of what happens. This is where I live until something goes wrong and you can't just stay here. That's the reason why I've changed my mind about Thailand, to think about moving somewhere else, just for a sense of security. Okay, by the time I get to a certain age, if I just stop doing everything, go completely off grid or whatever, you don't have to do your 90-day report or your visa. So I think that's a bit different there. But now, you know, I don't know if you see other channels where they're interviewing people. I've been living in Thailand for a year, and I've been living in Thailand for 6 months, and I've been living in Thailand for this. How long are these people going to be there? You could probably bet a lot of money that the vast majority of them won't stay in Thailand forever. Is that failing? Some of them yes, some of them no. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is to get back to the point of the other videos I've made previously, saying why I changed my mind about Thailand and when you realise you're not welcome in Thailand, is because I think there's a very big difference between people living in Thailand who have lived here for a long time, who have families, who have a connection to the country. That means that if you're not able to stay here properly, that's a negative for the people who are Thai who stay with you. That's very different than someone who's in Thailand temporarily, who's taking advantage of the fact that they can work overseas, who doesn't have a connection to the country, who doesn't actually do anything. And because of that, I believe it's a very difficult situation, because Thailand is exploding in popularity, but no one actually seems to care about the country that they're moving to. I suppose that is not failure, that's just something else I wanted to mention here. But the failure that I'm talking about are the amount of people who, you know, they come to the country thinking everything's going to be great, and it's not. And I've spoken to so many people who have gone through that. Friends I've had over the years who have left because of not having money. Friends who have left because they got bored of it. And I would class, okay, you got bored of Thailand, you don't need to leave, but that's failing in Thailand because you didn't get from Thailand what you expected to, so you leave. People who think they're going to stay there forever, yet don't, that's failure, even if you chose to go somewhere else. So if I eventually leave, have I failed in Thailand? Probably yes, because I didn't get exactly what I wanted to, which is exactly what I've got now, apart from without having to renew a visa. That's basically the only thing that's letting Thailand down for me at this moment in time. Everything else is no problem. I think Thailand's a fantastic place to live, but I think it's been, or at the moment, Thailand is getting overtaken or overrun by people who aren't actually interested in Thailand. They're just interested in this so-called affordability in Thailand and how your money stretches further. People who you look at as not being people who would, before COVID, ever have even considered moving to the country. And I think that's sort of where Thailand is headed. And eventually, hopefully, there's enough people going to be making videos about the other side of Thailand that people can actually stop making hasty decisions based on videos made by people who have been in the country for a month, saying how they can help you avoid the mistakes. I mean, I've even seen guys selling courses who have arrived in the country for 3 months. Do what I did. If I can do it, you can do it. Buy my course. Like $300 course. How to live in Thailand, the best way. I mean, what do you know? They're free to do that. That's fine. But the people who are actually watching them and believing this, you can see the comments, making decisions based on this, are ultimately going to be in for, a world of hurt when they come to the conclusion that the visas that they thought they could get might have been a bit difficult. The bank account that they expected to be able to open wasn't actually like it was meant to be. And how much things cost was actually greatly exaggerated, because Thailand isn't a cheap country anymore. It's not as expensive as the West, yes, we know that, but it's not like it used to be, where before you could spend 10% of what you would spend in the West, but now you're spending maybe 60 or 70%, probably even closer to 100, depending on exactly what you want to do. And I think that just means that it's going to lead many people to fail, and it's unfortunate to see, but it's the type of thing that's bound to happen. So anyway, interested to know what anybody else thinks about this. Do you think too many people are failing, too many people moving who perhaps are not the sorts of people who would have typically moved to Thailand throughout the course of history, but they're just taking advantage of modern technology and are moving without any desire to have a connection to the country? Or do you think it's something entirely different? Would like to know. Anyway, cheers everyone.